Namaskar. Welcome to Conversations with Rakesh. This week I want to talk about bad bosses. And I'll tell you why. Last week I was with a group of young managers from a very bright company and we kept talking about good management, good bosses. And one of them asked a question that how do I even know if I'm a bad boss? And I thought that was such a nice question, right? That how do we reflect on our own style of management? Are we bad bosses? Do we even know about it? Because what happens is that when we are doing our work, we are doing it, we feel that we are doing all right, we get a feedback from our boss, but maybe we are doing things that we don't know the impact of on our employees. And how they feel could also be a very big important point for us to understand. And this is where this video is focused on that sometimes we don't know what we are doing and if our actions are impacting our teams. So, this video will give you 5 suggestions that you could use to reflect on your own self to answer the question that are you a bad boss? Here is my first self reflection for all of you. And this comes from a story I read from APJ Kalam's talk. It seems that he was in charge of a rocket launch and the launch was a failure. So his boss, Satish Dhawanji, decided to go in front of the media and everybody was thinking that this is not the right protocol. Kalamji was the in charge of the entire project, so he should be facing the media and facing the heat. But Satish Dhawanji just walked in, took charge of everything, faced all the questions, and said, "Give us 1 year, and we'll come back and we'll prove that this project is a success." And the media painted the whole thing very differently, and there was a lot of criticism. And the next year, the same launch happened. It was successful, and the media was expecting Satish Dhawanji to come back again. He didn't even show up. So Kalamji went up and talked to the media, and in hindsight, Kalamji talks about it very fondly that that day, his boss, Satish Dhawanji, fielded him from the brickbats of the world because something went wrong. But when something went right, he walked away and let the flowers and the praise come to the right person. And this is a very good self reflection tool that are you a manager or a boss who stands up for your teams when things are wrong, when things are going bad? And when things are going good, are you a boss who walks away and fades away and let the team enjoy the credit? When a client is sending a stinky mail, do you stand up for your teams and protect them? And when the client sends a very nice praise, do you step back and let them enjoy it? So, this is a very big self reflection tool that are you shielding and standing up for your teams when there is a crisis and things are wrong? Or are you a boss who just hogs the limelight, takes away everything, even the praise, and when things go wrong, fades away? Because then you are exposing the team to all the harm. So, reflect on this behavior of yours, stand up for your teams, protect them from harm, because that's your very important job. And if you're doing it, probably you're a good boss. If you're not doing it, you are a bad boss. So that is my request number one. Request number two, observe your meetings. In the meetings, are you a boss who keeps talking all the time and everybody's listening? Are you letting people speak and you hear the sentence, I agree with you, quite often? Then I think something has gone wrong. And that is where bad bosses need to reflect on themselves. That this could be a sign that your teams are not comfortable with you. They are afraid of you. That's why they're saying things like, I agree with you, or not speaking their mind. But if you have a team meeting where you always get a comment, or many times you hear a comment that I disagree with you, and this is what you should be doing, and everybody is like, yeah, okay, we should talk about it, we should discuss it, and you facilitate that conversation, I think it's a good meeting. People are not scared of you. And that's where creativity and innovation comes, that they trust you as a boss. So self reflection point number two, if your team meetings are very chirpy, you speak less and you hear a sentence, I disagree with you, with the right respectful attitude, I think you're a good boss. But if your meetings are more one way, you're talking all the time and you hear a thing, I agree with you, I think you're a bad boss. That's an important point to think. Here's point number three, taking this discussion from meeting room to informal settings. Sometimes your teams may come to you and talk about their dreams and careers. How often do they do that? Do they come and talk to you about their promotion related discussions? Because that is really not the right discussion at that point of time. Or are they coming to you and saying that, Rakesh, I'm a little confused. I really want to do an MBA. And you're like, okay, I mean, what can I do to help you? And that's a very good concept that if you are a bad boss, nobody will come and share their dreams with you, because they'll be worried that if they share their dreams with you and you are very protective about them, because if they go and it'll harm you, you will scuttle their plans. And that's a very big problem with bosses. Many bosses keep the best team members to themselves. They don't want them to progress because the work suffers. That's what they think. But good bosses don't think like that. Good bosses feel that talent should be grown and nurtured because it will help the whole organization and indirectly help you. So they are actually nurturer of talent. So if your teams are coming to you and discussing their dreams and aspirations, you're a good boss. If they're not coming to you with this conversation, and if you're not helping them, probably you are a bad boss. Number four, um, this comes from the concept of justice and fairness. Many times, bosses and managers tend to have favorites. Reflect on your own style. Do you have favorites? Are there two, three people who get more responsibilities and others are ignored? It may happen without you knowing. Sometimes ignorance happens. You are so busy, and there is this person who's working very hard, giving you results. So you give more and more to that person. But there could be somebody else who might feel that, hey, this is favoritism, nepotism. You both are from the same college, or you speak the same language, or you don't even know what I'm doing. So there could be these issues, underlying currents, which could give a perception that you're a bad boss. So this is an important self-reflection, that be fair. If there's a project opportunity or something coming up, find a way to deliver it to your teams in a fair manner so that everybody feels that there's an equal opportunity in the team. So please reflect on it. And it's a very simple thing that if you're having lunches with the same person, chai, coffee with the same person, if the same person speaks up in the room, then there is some equation you need to be aware of. Others are keeping quiet and they're observing all this. And this could all be treated as unfairness and nepotism and many more things. So please reflect on it. Be as fair as possible. Whatever law applies to them should apply to you. So if you are saying that no chutti on Diwali because all of us have to work hard and make sure that we deliver on time, you also have to not take chutti. And nobody in the team should take chutti. And if somebody gets special treatment, that is not good. So be fair, be as just as possible, because that's very, very important. And the last one, are you a boss who walks the talk? Are you a person who says something and delivers and commits to it come what may? Or are you a person who says something in the meeting room with your team, goes out, says something else and does something else? Because that is very, very political, very unethical. The teams don't like it and it puts your credibility on the line. There could be a very important commitment you have given to the team and they've agreed, but then you go out, get beaten up by a client, change everything, commit something else, come back and say that it's not my fault, they are saying it. This is very common in management. Many managers use the line, I don't want to do it, but there's a lot of pressure from the customer or my boss. And that sentence is really bad. You're not walking the talk. So please walk the talk. If you've committed something, if you have spoken about something, deliver on that dotted line. Don't go beyond it, because that's where your credibility is questioned. So let me summarize these 5 self-reflection tools. Self-reflection tool number 1, do you stand up for your team and protect them when things are wrong? Reflection number 2, in your meetings, do you hear the sentence, I disagree with you? Self-reflection point number 3, does your team come to you and share their dreams and aspirations, and are you nurturing them? Self-reflection point number 4, are you fair and just with your decisions with everyone, or do you have favorites? And self-reflection point number 5, do you walk the talk? These 5 things will give you a pretty good self-reflection on your style and will give you a rough indication that are you a bad boss or are you a good boss. Try doing this. My other request is that if you go to your team and say, am I a bad boss? You'll never get an answer. No employee will say that, yes, sir, you're a bad boss. Even there is on LinkedIn, if you put a post, tag if you have a bad boss, nobody will tag you. But if you put a post that tag if you have a good boss, everybody will do it because that's human nature. We don't want to publicly call out our bad bosses. So you will never get an answer. Second thing is if you are going to the HR and saying do a 360 anonymous feedback, you'll only get dirt, anger, toxicity, which doesn't help you. They will just vomit out all their anger. So do these 5 points, reflect on yourself, observe your teams, observe what's happening, keep your antennas open for what you're seeing, and that could help you get an answer that are you a bad boss? And I hope you are not, and I hope you're a good boss. A good boss can really make a great organization. A great organization can produce great results. The teams are productive, and the overall environment becomes safe and a lot more innovative. Stay safe.